Hi, so I'm going to share how I was hit by a car in Dubai and how I survived it. So this is going to be kind of a story time, and I would suggest that you get something to drink, so maybe a cup of tea. I have some herbal kind of tea from Amman, from Jordan. So I'm going to consume this while I'm going over this story because I think if you get hit by a car, there is like two things that can happen, or either you will be conscious and you will remember exactly every single second of it, or you're going to go unconscious, or you're going to be in some trauma and you will not remember anything of it. However, I remember every single second of that car accident, and also this happened to me quite recently because it's now 2018, the end of the year, and this happened to me in 2017 in I think it was in November, beginning of November. And so basically I'm going to sort of take it from the beginning. So I had just arrived to Dubai late at the night, and so I was really tired and I was super happy to be back in Dubai. So I went to sleep and everything went fine. And then in the morning I had a assignment, like an examination in one of the courses that I was doing. I think it was in management and organization B. So I had like a assignment, so I had to study in the morning. And I had like maybe 4 hours of sleep. And then of course I had, things I wanted to do in Dubai since it was my first day. So in the middle of the day, and I think this was on a Saturday. So Saturday in Dubai is like the last day of the week. So mostly it's kind of more, calm and relaxed. But I mean, most people are kind of off from work on a Saturday. So I basically, if it's the office timings. So I basically had made plans, for the rest of the day, and I was on my way out, and I was staying in a place that was a bit from a metro station. And I felt like, I just want to get some fresh air and just to take in the sunlight and stuff. However, in Dubai, because it's quite hot in the daytime, it's quite, common that you will see people who wearing like umbrellas. And because my skin is very, sensitive to the sun, I was wearing an umbrella. And also because it was my first day there, so I figured, my skin is not used to the sun. So I was going to cross over a street, and on my right side there was this huge road that had like maybe 6 files of cars, driving quite fast. And then to my left there was this you know what is it called, like a attachment road. So there was another road that came from the left, and then one of the sort of lanes or roads was taking the cars out on this big road. And then there was also this like straight road that would take cars to the sort of the left. So there was this, common kind of walking sign, and it was red. So I stopped by this, this by the pedestrian kind of street place, the pavement, and I was staying there waiting for the sign to go green, and I was wearing my umbrella, so to sort of protect me from the sun. And then the sign went green, and I go out on the on the street where it's supposed to be like a crossover. And as I'm sort of sensing that something is coming, something is moving on my left side. And I was like, it can't be. It cannot be a car because it's a green man. So I'm allowed to cross over here. And also the big road here with all of these lines, it was like busy. Everyone was like, because it was a green sign, so they were able to move. So I lift up my umbrella and I see this car coming, and it's not stopping. And I don't know how fast this car was driving. Luckily, it was not driving more than 90 kilometer in an hour. I think it was maybe driving, I would say maybe, I don't know, 60 kilometer in an hour or 70 kilometer in an hour, something like this, you know. And this man in the car, he had not seen me, you know, because he was on his phone while he was driving. So this is actually kind of, you know, he was on his phone, he didn't see me. And also his car, I was very lucky because he had like this low car that had a shape, so there was like this front of the car, you know, that was like, you know, it was some space in it. And now these are like seconds, you know, this goes very fast, this whole sequence of events, you know. But you know, when you are in the middle of it, it feels like it takes ages, you know. And also there is a lot of things that happens in these few seconds that I will go over, but I mean, you have to understand that it's just few seconds that I will explain. So as this car is coming, I'm holding my umbrella and I'm like, is he not going to stop, you know? I'm like, this can't happen. And since I'm realizing that in my mind that this man is not going to stop the car, I'm realizing that I'm going to die, you know? I'm like, this is not happening, you know? I'm like, is this man in this car going to hit me with his car? Like he doesn't know me, he doesn't, you know, I have no connection to him. And I'm like, I'm a healthy person, I have studied, I have got my bachelor degree and I'm doing all these other studies. I'm like I was just in this kind of unreal moment where I was like, this is not happening, you know. And then my mind went like, okay, I need to do something, you know. So I realized, since all these cars are like passing by here on my left or on my right side, you know, in a much higher kind of speed, and you know, there was so many lines, so I mean, I cannot run towards that side, you know. And there was like, I was already out on the, you know, on the crossover, so I couldn't just run back. So he hit me with the car and my neck snatched back because I was trying to get into balance here, you know. And because I have quite good balance, you know, I managed to sort of not fall back, because if I would have fall back, this man would have drive over my legs, you know. So I managed to, my neck snatched back, you know, and that's why I have had some neck pains after this, you know, but I will explain it more, you know, in details. So my neck snatched back and I managed to get into balance. But since he already have hit me with the car, I'm jumping up on the on his car, you know, because I was like, if I jump towards the right, he's going to drive over me, you know. And also I cannot run to the right because obviously I was like, you know, he had hit me, and I mean, there was all these cars running, you know, driving on my right side. So I jump up on his car and I thought that, okay, now he's going to slowly kind of, you know, press on the brakes and he's going to stop the car. But this man, he's not stopping the car, you know. So he keeps on driving with me on the car, you know. And I don't know how I managed to hold myself to the car, and I was like, this is just unreal. Because I was thinking, as I was hanging on this car and I was seeing the, you know, the man into his eyes, you know, because I was like, you know, I couldn't wave with my hand and be like, don't brake like super hard, because obviously I had to hold myself to the car and I still had my handbag on me, you know. So the umbrella was like just had flew somewhere, you know. I think it flew under the car actually, so I mean, at least it wasn't my legs, you know. So yeah, so he didn't, you know, stop the car. He kept on driving me for a few meters, you know, and then I was like, oh my god, because first you think that you're going to die or your legs or whatever is going to get stuck under the car when he hit you first time. But then while I'm on the car, I realize he's not stopping the car. So then I'm starting to thinking, oh my god, I might going to get hit one more time, because if he's going to brake really hard, I will I will fly down from the car and he will hit me on my legs or something, you know. Or I might get hit by all these other cars that are like driving on this other side. But there was like this good thing that happened, and that was that these cars that was on my right side, the light went red, you know. So when this man stops the car, he brakes it really hard, and I flew down from the car, and then he keeps on driving. It's like, where is the mind of this man, you know? So he keeps on driving the car, and for some reason my balance is like on point because I land on my legs, you know. So I land on my legs and I start running out on this huge street, you know. And luckily it's red light, so there's no cars moving, you know, because if there would have been cars moving, I would have been hit by like 3 other cars, you know. So, I mean, this is just a whole kind of, how did I even survive this, you know? So basically, start running, and this man, he keeps on driving the car. So he hit me one more time, you know? And this time I have no other way than falling down. So I flew a few meters in front, out on this huge kind of street. And luckily all of the cars on that street were stopped, thankfully, you know. So I land on my hands, I scratch up all my hands, you know, both my hands. I scratch up my knees, and my neck is obviously hurt from the first time that he hit me with a car, when my neck snatched back, you know. So, and then he stops the car 1 centimeter from my feet, because as I was lying on the ground, I realized I cannot get up here, you know, because first of all, I'm bleeding from my hands, and you know, I had like pain in my knee, and of course my neck also started to hurt. And I was looking back, turning back, and I was like, okay, if he doesn't stop the car now, then I'm just going to, my legs, I was like preparing myself mentally for my legs to get, you know, smashed in under his car. So I turn around and I see that this man has not stopped the car, he keeps on moving with it, and then he stops the car 1 centimeter from my legs, and I was just like, did I survive this, you know? That was what I was thinking. I was like, did I survive this? He stopped the car 1 centimeter. And then as I realized that he had stopped the car, I'm like, okay, I have to get up from here. And I was like, am I hurt? Like, did I hurt my, you know, head? Did I hurt my body? Am I intact? Is everything okay? Of course, my neck was like hurting slightly, you know? But I was like, okay, you know, you have this kind of, you know, that you are put in this type of flight or fight mood, you know, if you're experiencing anything like this. So I was just like, I'm going to survive. So I just got up there as fast as I could, and I was like, okay, I'm survived. And then this man comes out of the car and he's like, get into the car. And I was like, what? And he's saying that, you know, I will take you to the hospital, he said. He was like, there is a hospital down this line, you know. And at this point, the other road here on my right side, they have started to drive. So I was like really lucky that I managed to get back like out of that kind of line. And there was some cars that stopped along this long line, you know, because they were like, what is going on here, you know? And there was like so many cars that saw me here, you know. And this man, I'm assuming that he was not really someone who you want to meet, because I think in general he probably had some bad intention, you know. Because, you know, since he was asking me if I wanted to, you know, he was like almost like, you have to get into the car. And I was like starting to think, okay, first of all, he have hit me and drove on me like I don't know how many times now. And then now he wants me to get into the car, and I'm like, is he going to kidnap me? And then I was like thinking, because I'm injured, I'm bleeding from my hand, I have pain in my knee, and I don't know if I got hit somewhere else. I'm like, if I get into this car, I cannot fight him, you know. It doesn't matter if the hospital is just down the line. I don't know this man, and he has already done this. And the weird thing here is that he did not apologize, that he was on his phone in the car. And I think, you know, there was something that was wrong with him, you know. So I was just like, no. I was like, no, just, you know, I'm fine, just, you know, do not bother about this anymore. And I was like, we will just leave it at this point, you know. I was because I was also shocked, you know, in this moment. I was like, is he seriously trying to get me into the car? I don't know this man. I'm injured, like, and he's not even apologizing. And it's like, and he also, because he didn't stop the car, you know, as a common person, I think if they are sane, they would do that, you know. So yeah, so that was like the whole kind of car accident, and I was like, okay, I can't stand just in the middle of the street, so I just walked away from there because I had like planned some, you know, stuff with friends over in Dubai. So I was just in the shock. I was like, did I hurt myself somewhere, you know, or what happened, you know? I was like in a shock. So I went and saw my friends and I was like, you don't know what happened, but I was hit by a car, you know, and they were like, oh my God, are you okay, you know? And I was like, I don't know, because I have pain in my neck, and I mean, I'm like, you know, at that point I had managed to put some tapes and stuff on my hands and on my knees, so I mean, I felt kind of fine. But then in the evening, I got the worst pain in my neck, you know. And this is like what happens if you get some kind of injury in your neck from this type of thing, you know, like a wish splash, like kind of injury. You will not experience the pain like ASAP. It will come after some time, you know. So for 1 week, I had really bad pain in my neck. But thankfully, I mean, that went over. But after that, you know, I have sort of been out of my yoga practice because I felt like I can't lift anything because I got so bad pain in my neck. So that took like 6 months before I, you know, felt like, okay, I can sort of be back in my yoga practice. I mean, I started running immediately after I have had this kind of neck thing. So, I mean, I wasn't like doing any kind of, you know, stopping in my kind of practice or in my physical activity. Also, I was moving in that 1 week after that, so I had to lift quite a lot, but I mean, I had quite bad pain after that. So yeah, but it's just when you are placed in these kind of situations where you are thinking, that makes you think that you're going to die, then you sort of are like, oh my God, you know, this is it. And you sort of also thinking that, you know, you can build up so many things, you know, in your life. You can build up so much strength and like capacity in yourself. Like you can do all these educations and stuff, you know. I mean, I'm doing a master now, you know. But I mean, you can do so many different things. But all of a sudden, some random person who has no, you know, positive intentions whatsoever for you, or even have done anything to your level, you know, they might just affect you, and you're going to, you know, maybe, you know, something bad will happen to you, you know. So to have, you know, experienced this and also being conscious in every second of it, I mean, I know exactly all of these sequences in this accident, so that's why I can recall everything. So, and I mean, I'm so happy that I did everything right, because I jumped up on the car instead of in front. And the weird thing is that before this happened, I had this sort of sensing that something would make me kind of injure my legs, you know. Because I have, sometimes I get this sort of intuition, you know, kind of guidance, you know. So I was like, for a few months, I was like thinking something might happen and that will cause me some injury, you know, in my legs. So I was actually being really conscious about, you know, about taking care, you know, in the things I was doing. I wasn't like trying to manifest this situation, but I was just, you know, aware, because I know that if you are thinking too much about something, you maybe start manifesting it. But the thing is, I was just conscious about being careful, you know. So when I was hit by the car, I knew that I can't jump towards the right, because then I'm going to get injured in my legs. I just knew it, you know. And also, obviously, that would have happened if I would have landed in front of the car and he would have drove over, you know. So, yeah. So when you survive something, you know, it's quite amazing, you know. And I mean, I have had some different things, you know, that sort of has made me kind of thinking about stuff, you know. Um, but yeah, I think that also it's just interesting to share it, because maybe for someone else who, you know, has had something similar, you know, happening to them, or is just curious about, you know, how these things can happen. And one thing I want to say here is that in Dubai, it is super safe, you know. The roads and the like transportation and everything is super safe. I mean, it's the most amazing city, you know. These types of accidents and stuff, they happen very rarely, you know. It's not like something, you know, that is common. But yeah, this happened to me, and it was you know, just out of a blue sky that it happened. So it's always about to be careful, you know. But I just wanted to share this, you know, because maybe someone will benefit from just, you know, kind of seeing that there is actually, you know, another side, you know, of these types of accidents, you know.